There's a smell that every British child in the 1960s remembers: flour-based glue, coal smoke, and fresh pine mixing together on Christmas Eve. If you know that smell, you've experienced something that's now completely gone, because the Christmas you grew up with has vanished without a trace. Tradition 1. Paper chains. Paper chains, made from old newspapers, dangled from every ceiling. Children sat cross-legged on cold floors, cutting strips with blunt scissors, their fingers sticky with homemade paste. The paste smelled faintly of flour, because that's exactly what it was. Flour mixed with water, heated on the stove until it thickened. The chains weren't perfect. Some links fell apart before they even made it to the ceiling. Others twisted awkwardly, refusing to hang straight, but that was the point. Christmas decorations weren't something you bought in a shop wrapped in plastic. They were something you made with your own hands, sitting in the dim light of a single lamp, paper rustling, laughter mixing with the sound of scissors snipping. Every December evening was spent this way. Older siblings helped younger ones. Parents joined in when they finished work. The chains would stretch across rooms, dipping and swaying, catching whatever light they could. Colored paper if you were lucky. Plain newspaper if money was tight that year. By the time cheap tinsel flooded the stores, the paper chains got shoved into drawers, then binned entirely. The ritual of making them together disappeared faster than the decorations themselves. Nobody makes them anymore. Most people under 50 have never even seen one in real life. Tradition 2. The Blue Peter Advent Crown. In 1964, Blue Peter introduced something that would become legendary: the Advent Crown. The instructions were simple. Take 2 wire coat hangers, bend them into a circle, wrap the whole thing in tinsel until you couldn't see the wire anymore. Then stick candles in jam jars at each corner. Every week leading up to Christmas, the presenters would light another candle on live television. Millions of children watched, then rushed to do the same at home. It was beautiful. It was tradition. It was also a massive fire hazard waiting to happen. Tinsel is flammable. Coat hangers aren't stable. Jam jars filled with melting wax can crack from heat. And yet, families placed these crowns in the center of their tables, flames flickering dangerously close to everything. Children leaned in to watch the candles burn. Nobody thought twice about it. Today's health and safety laws would never allow it. Insurance companies would have heart attacks. But back then, danger was just part of Christmas. The Advent crown sat there, week after week, fire dancing in jam jars, and somehow most homes survived. Tradition 3. Real candles on trees. Before electric lights became affordable, families clipped real candles onto tree branches. Small metal clips held them in place, wax dripping slowly as the flames flickered. The glow was magical, warm, alive in a way electric lights could never match. But it was dangerous. Everyone knew it. Trees went up in smoke regularly. Newspapers ran stories every Christmas about families losing their homes to tree fires. The combination of dry pine needles and open flames was obviously a disaster waiting to happen. And yet, families did it anyway. They'd light the candles for special moments, Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, then blow them out quickly. They kept buckets of water nearby. They watched constantly. Because nothing matched that warm, gentle danger of a candle-lit tree, the way the light moved, the shadows it cast, the smell of pine mixing with melted wax. By the mid-1960s, electric fairy lights had become cheap enough for most families. Safer, more convenient. The candles were quietly retired, packed away, never used again. But anyone who saw a real candle-lit tree never forgot it. That living light is gone now, replaced by bulbs that never flicker, never smell, never threaten to burn your house down. Tradition 4. Christmas Eve. Shopping. Christmas Eve meant one thing: panic shopping until midday. Shops stayed open and entire families scrambled through the streets collecting festive food and drink. The pavements were packed. Everyone clutching lists, checking off items, rushing between stores before the shutters came down. Home freezers didn't exist for most people. Those who had them owned tiny compartments barely big enough for ice cubes. Everything for Christmas dinner had to be bought fresh that day: the turkey, the vegetables, the bread. All of it was purchased hours before it would be cooked. You'd queue at the butcher's, watching him wrap your order in brown paper and string, then to the greengrocer's for sprouts, potatoes, carrots, all loose, weighed out into paper bags. Then the baker's for fresh rolls. Supermarkets were only just appearing, and most people still didn't trust them for important occasions like Christmas. Everyone carried heavy bags home through the cold, arms aching, fingers going numb. Children helped, struggling with packages too big for their small hands. The walk home felt endless. And if you forgot something, too bad. Every shop shut tight on Christmas Day. No corner shops staying open, no late-night garages selling emergency supplies, no second chances. The scramble was part of Christmas. The stress, the crowds, the relief when you finally got home with everything. That last-minute rush has vanished now. People order online weeks in advance. Supermarkets stay open until late. Christmas Eve shopping is not as special as it used to be. Tradition 5. Off-license barrels. Alcohol came from the off-license, usually just a section of the local pub with a separate entrance. You'd walk in and see barrels lined up against the wall. Watney's Red Barrel, Double Diamond. For the ladies, Baby Cham and Snowball, sickly sweet drinks that tasted like liquid Christmas. Sherry poured straight from a barrel into whatever container you brought from home. Glass bottles, old jugs, anything that held liquid. The man behind the counter would turn the tap and golden sherry would stream out, filling your container to the brim. You'd pay by the pint, counting out coins carefully. All year long, families collected loose change in pots and bottles hidden around the house. Behind the clock on the mantelpiece, in old tea tins under the bed, every spare penny went in. Come Christmas, they'd empty every pot, counting out the coins in piles on the kitchen table. Sometimes it was just enough, sometimes it wasn't. Missing your Christmas drinks was a disaster. The off-license wasn't open again for 2 full days. Christmas Day and Boxing Day, both days completely shut. The entire country ground to a halt, so you made sure you had enough, even if it meant spending your last coins, even if it meant borrowing from a neighbor who'd remember come January. Tradition 6. Coal fires. The coal fire was the heart of Christmas, not just a source of heat, the emotional center of everything. Families huddled around it, feet stretched towards the flames, faces flushed from the warmth. The fire crackled and spat. Shadows danced on the walls. The smell of burning coal filled every room. Children would toast themselves warm after a bath, standing so close their skin almost hurt from the heat. They'd turn slowly, like rotisserie chickens, warming one side, then the other. Their pajamas would smell of smoke for days afterwards. Everything smelled of smoke. Your clothes, your hair, the curtains, the wallpaper. Keeping the fire going was hard work. Someone had to fetch coal from the bunker outside, often in the freezing cold. The coal shed was dark, spiders everywhere, hands turning black from the dust. You'd carry the coal in a metal bucket, arms straining, trying not to drop pieces on the floor. The fire needed constant attention, poking, adding more coal, clearing out ash. It was dirty, difficult to maintain. The smoke polluted everything, leaving a film of soot on windows and furniture. But that fire meant home. It meant family gathered together. Christmas morning, around the coal fire, opening presents with the heat on your back, nothing else came close. The Clean Air Act of 1956 started changing things. Cities banned coal fires because of the smog. Central heating crept into homes. Cleaner, easier, more efficient. By the 1970s, most families had switched. The coal bunker stood empty. The fireplace was bricked up or filled with an electric heater that glowed fake orange. In this generation, most people have never even seen a real coal fire at Christmas. They've never felt that particular heat, never smelled that particular smoke, never experienced the ritual of keeping the fire alive through the coldest day of winter. Tradition 7. Tangerines and coins in stockings. Christmas morning started with a stocking. Not the decorative ones you buy now, actual stockings. Your dad's work sock hung from the mantelpiece. You'd creep downstairs in the dark, cold floorboards under bare feet, and there it was, heavy and lumpy, full. You'd feel it first, something hard and round in the toe. That was the tangerine, always a tangerine, or a satsuma. Then higher up, a walnut in its shell, a coin, chocolate coins in gold foil, a selection box, puzzle books, small toys, crayons, and at the top, an annual, Beano or Dandy. That fresh orange in the toe was a luxury. In cold Britain, citrus came from warm places like Florida or Spain. It was exotic. The smell alone was special, sharp, sweet, completely different from anything else in winter. You'd peel it carefully, saving the peel to throw on the coal fire later, watching it sizzle. The tradition came from darker times. During rationing, oranges were rare enough to be treasured. A single orange was a gift worth giving. Even when rationing ended, the memory stayed. Parents who'd grown up with nothing made sure their children had that orange every Christmas. But oranges are everywhere now. Supermarkets stock them year-round, cheap as anything. Nobody thinks twice about them. The magic disappeared when scarcity did. That orange became just another piece of fruit, not a symbol of abundance. Tradition 8. Door to door. Caroling winter nights filled with singing. Groups of neighbors and children wrapped up in coats, scarves wound tight, breath visible in the freezing air, they'd set off into the dark streets, going door to door with Christmas carols. The sound carried in the cold air. Good King Wenceslas, echoing down empty roads, Silent Night, sung slightly off-key, but with genuine feeling. You'd hear them coming before you saw them. People opened their doors without hesitation. Warm light spilled out. Come in, come in. They'd return with mince pies still warm from the oven, small glasses of sherry, coins pressed into children's cold hands. The carolers would move from house to house, collecting coins in a tin, growing louder and more confident. By the end of the night, everyone knew each other a bit better. The street felt more like a community. Christmas was something you shared with everyone around you. Then life got busier. People stopped knowing their neighbors' names. Fear crept in, fear of strangers, fear of opening doors after dark. Privacy became more important than tradition. Doorbells went unanswered. Curtains stayed closed. Eventually, people stopped trying. The singing moved to churches and shopping centers. Professional choirs organized charity events. Safe, controlled, impersonal. The streets went quiet on winter nights. Christmas became something you did indoors, behind locked doors. The community aspect died. Tradition 9. Boxing Day. Tipping. Boxing Day wasn't about sales or football. It was about giving back to the people who'd served you all year. Christmas boxes filled with money, leftover food, or gifts handed out the day after Christmas. You'd prepare them on Christmas night, count out coins, wrap leftover cake, the milkman who came every morning, the postman who'd delivered letters in all weathers, the dustman, the coalman who'd hauled heavy sacks to your bunker. These weren't strangers, you knew them by name. They knew you. Real relationships built over years of regular contact. On Boxing Day morning, you'd wait for them. There'd be handshakes, thank yous, wishes for a happy new year. It was a ritual rooted in gratitude. But those relationships vanished. Milk stopped being delivered daily. Supermarkets were cheaper. Postal deliveries became less personal. Different workers on different days. The coalman disappeared entirely when everyone switched to central heating. Now, most of us wouldn't even know who to tip. The delivery driver who brings our parcels is different every time. We don't know their names, they don't know ours. Everything's transactional, anonymous, efficient. The tradition died because the connections died first. Tradition 10. The flaming Christmas pudding. The dining room lights went dark. Everyone knew what was coming. Conversations stopped. Children sat up straighter. You could hear the clock ticking, someone's breathing, the creak of floorboards from the kitchen. Then the door swung open. The Christmas pudding entered, wreathed in flames. Brandy poured over it, set alight just seconds before. The person carrying it walked slowly, carefully, flames dancing blue and orange in the darkness. The glow lit up their face from below, casting strange shadows. Families gathered round, watching the fire dance. The smell of burning brandy filled the room, sharp, intoxicating, unmistakably Christmas. Someone would start clapping. Then everyone joined in. Pure drama on Christmas Day, when drama was in short supply. The flames symbolized Christ's passion, though most families didn't think about that. They just knew it looked incredible. You'd find silver 3-penny bits hidden inside if you were lucky. Whoever found the coin kept it for good luck. Now, most people buy shop-bought puddings in plastic containers, heat them in the microwave for 3 minutes. No flames, no drama, no procession through the dark. The spectacle has been sacrificed for convenience. Tradition 11. The Queen's speech at 3 p.m., 3 o'clock on Christmas Day. The entire nation stopped. It didn't matter what you were doing. At 3 o'clock, everything paused. Time to hear what the Queen had to say. Every household tuned in. There were only 2 TV channels in the early 1960s, BBC and ITV. Everyone watched the same thing at the same time. No choice, no alternatives. The Queen would appear, seated, formal but somehow warm. She'd talk about the year gone by, Her voice was steady, reassuring, the same every year. Families dozed with their feet up after lunch, bellies full, half listening to Her Majesty's words. You could walk down any street at 3 o'clock and hear the same voice coming from every house, rich or poor, north or south. Everyone stopped for the Queen. It was one of the few moments when Britain truly felt united. That collective ritual has shattered now. The speech still happens, now the King's speech, but nobody watches it live anymore. Streaming services mean you can watch it later, or tomorrow, or not at all. The synchronized pause has gone. That moment when the whole nation breathed together has fractured into millions of individual choices. Tradition 12. Homemade nativity scenes, empty cereal boxes, pipe cleaners, tissue paper, cotton wool. That's what nativity scenes were made from. Children sat at kitchen tables after school, Blue Peter on the television, watching presenters demonstrate how to create figures with whatever you could find. "Here's one I made earlier," they'd say. Then they'd show you how. "Cut here, fold like this, twist the pipe cleaner, use cotton wool for sheep." Children would work for days on their nativity scenes. Mary from a clothes peg wrapped in blue fabric. Joseph from another peg with brown cloth, baby Jesus, just a tiny bundle of tissue paper in a matchbox manger. All made by hand, all slightly wonky, all unique. Some families went further, mothers hand sewing entire sets, fathers carving figures from wood in the shed. Each nativity scene told you something about the family who made it. The figures were never perfect. Mary's face might be lopsided. A shepherd might lose an arm. But that was fine. The imperfections made them precious. You'd made them yourself. The craft tradition disappeared along with the patience to make something by hand. Why spend hours cutting and gluing when you can buy a finished set for £15? Making things yourself has become a novelty, not a necessity, and something important was lost when that changed. Tradition 13. Christmas hampers from workplace raffles. The Christmas hamper, a wicker basket filled with tins, packets, bottles. Winning one at a workplace raffle was the highlight of the season. Your name called out in front of everyone, the weight of it in your arms as you carried it home. Opening the hamper was an event. The whole family gathered round the kitchen table, tins of ham, packets of biscuits, bottles of sherry, jars of preserves, Christmas pudding. Each item examined, exclaimed over, placed on display. It felt like unwrapping possibility itself, a promise of abundance. Employers actually cared about giving their workers something valuable. Something that said, "Thank you for your work this year." Now, corporate gifts are vouchers with terms and conditions, awkward secret Santa exchanges where you spent £10 on a colleague. The generosity has been replaced by obligation. Nobody wins anymore. That feeling of genuine gratitude from employer to employee has vanished completely. Tradition 14. Fresh-cut Scotch, pine trees. Families traveled to seasonal lots to pick their tree, temporary spaces filled with trees leaning against wooden frames. The smell of pine so strong it almost hurt your nose. Scotch pine was the favorite. It looked full even at a smaller size, perfect for small terraced houses. You'd walk between the trees, touching branches, testing needles, looking for the perfect one. The tree would be carried home through the streets, children helping drag it, the base scraping along the pavement. Getting it through the front door was always a struggle. Then came the decorating. Glass, shiny, bright ornaments, delicate, easily broken, shimmering tinsel wrapped in spirals, and icicles made of lead, thin strips of metal that caught the light beautifully. Yes, lead. Nobody thought about the health risks. The government banned it eventually. The smell of pine filled every room, that sharp, clean scent that meant Christmas more than anything else. The tree would dry out slowly over the weeks, needles falling, branches drooping. By New Year, it was dead. Scotch pine has mostly disappeared now, replaced by other varieties. Some families buy artificial trees that pack away in boxes. No mess, no fuss, no smell. They look almost real. Almost. But they'll never be the same as dragging a real Scotch pine through your front door, breathing in that smell, knowing it's temporary. Tradition 15. Selection boxes as main gifts. A single chocolate selection box. That was your main Christmas present. Not one of many. The main one. You'd wake up Christmas morning, and there it would be under the tree. Cadbury's, Rowntree's, Nestlé. The sight of it made your heart race. The boxes were substantial, filled with full-size chocolate bars. Mars, Flake, Bounty, Milky Way, Crunchy, each one individually wrapped. The weight of it felt significant. This was your Christmas. Each box had games printed on the back, snakes and ladders, mazes, word searches. The box itself became a toy. You'd ration the chocolate carefully, 1 bar a day, maybe 2, making it last as long as possible. Each bar felt like an event. The selection box represented something bigger than chocolate. It represents your parents' ability to provide. In families where money was tight, that box was proof that Christmas had happened properly. Now, children receive so many selection boxes, they lose count. They pile up, unopened, forgotten by New Year. What was once special became common. The excitement of that one precious box has been buried under piles of presents that get forgotten by January. These traditions didn't just fade away. They were replaced by something faster, more convenient, something safer, cleaner, more efficient. Electric lights don't burn your house down. Central heating is easier than coal fires. Shop-bought decorations look more professional. But somewhere in that exchange, Christmas lost its weight. The smell of homemade glue and coal smoke, the danger of real candles, the sound of carolers outside your door, the spectacle of a flaming pudding carried through darkness. Gone. All of it. The magic wasn't in the things themselves. It was in the making, the waiting, the sharing, the effort. Christmas meant something when it was harder to achieve. That Christmas is gone, and no amount of nostalgia will bring it back.